In May of 2014, around a month or two after the release of Dark Souls 2, rumors and images started to surface online of a FromSoft game titled Project Beast, sparking discussions online. A couple weeks after the initial release of these screenshots, a trailer would make its way online. While the quality of it was atrocious, it would give the fans a glimpse of what the game would be like and confirm that the game would be a collaboration between Sony Software and FromSoft Games, which caused fans online to go crazy. This would all lead up to the E3 of that year, where Project Beast would be unveiled, now under a new name, with it being called Bloodborne. Bloodborne. What an interesting game, bruh. If you subscribe to my channel, you probably know about this game by now, but if you don't, let me give you a quick introduction. Bloodborne is a 2015 JRPG by FromSoft, and funnily enough, it was developed alongside Dark Souls 2. The reason I say this is funny is because Dark Souls 2 is known as the worst Souls game, while Bloodborne is damn near unanimously loved by everyone. Bloodborne was made as an exclusive for the newly released PS4, and it's for that reason that I think it was so unique. I feel like since Bloodborne was and still is a PS4 exclusive, and was also released very early into the PS4's lifecycle, Sony wanted a FromSoft game that stood out, especially given the mixed reception that Dark Souls 2 received. All in all, FromSoft has created 7 Soulsborne games, and Bloodborne is tied with Sekiro for being the most unlike the other games. The difference between Sekiro and Bloodborne, however, is that Sekiro is almost a completely different type of game, featuring a completely different gameplay and combat style as the other Soulsborne games. Bloodborne, however, keeps the same core gameplay that games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring have, but it completely changes everything apart from the core gameplay loop. It's almost like Bloodborne is a sibling in the family that just dresses a little different and has a weird hairstyle, whereas Sekiro is also a sibling in the family, but it is a different race for some reason. I don't know how to explain it. The core Soulsborne DNA shines through in Bloodborne, but it's also so different than the rest of the other Soulsborne games. This is what makes this game so special to me. The weird, cool ways in which it approaches the Souls-like formula. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Also, for the rest of the video, if I refer to Souls games, I'm referring to the Dark Souls trilogy, Demon Souls, and Elden Rings. Not Sekiro, because I don't know, he's a bit of a weirdo, odd one out. Starting off with where the game takes place, Bloodborne has a more Victorian Gothic setting that was partly inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is opposed to the medieval dark fantasy setting that the Dark Souls games have. You can see this influence all over the game. The streets, the houses, the buildings, the churches, and especially the dungeons. The game's setting just reeks of Victorian England, and I think that's really cool. Also, inspiration was taken from countries like Romania and their churches and other religious buildings. Bloodborne also takes inspiration from the work of H.P. Lovecraft, specifically the Cthulhu mythos, which I love. I really like the cosmic horror aspect of Bloodborne, and just the fact that instead of fighting monsters and demons, you're fighting like indescribable creatures and nightmarish entities and like that. It's just cool to me. This Lovecraftian vibe doesn't just apply to the bosses though, it applies to the enemies as well. I feel like as you go further into the game, you will begin to encounter more and more enemies that are just like what the f***? Like, what the f*** is that? Why does it look like that? And what's gonna happen if it touches me? Maybe I'm just a pussy, but there was times that I genuinely felt scared playing this game. Not only because of the game's creepy level design in a lot of areas, but also because of the game's brilliant use of lighting and music to set the tone. The feeling of running into a random enemy in Bloodborne and not knowing, first of all, what it is, and secondly, what it does is so cool and really helps add to the horror aspect of Bloodborne. Which, might I add, I feel like is a really underrated part of Soulsborne games in general, but is a very underrated part of Bloodborne. The game does a really good job of giving you this vibe that the world isn't normal and you're not supposed to be here, and this is further accentuated by the fucked up enemies, bosses, NPCs, and their dialogue. It's just really interesting listening to random NPCs around the world and just how they have, like, different and crazy views and thoughts on things going around the world and churches and orders and whatever the hell. It's just so cool. Also, you don't really have armor anymore, but you got, like, trench coats and hats, so that's nice. Oh yeah, you also get a gun. Moving on to the combat, I feel like this is the aspect of the game that differs the most from other Soulsborne games. Alright, so what I love most about games like Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring is the choice it allows. You can play however you want to, with whatever you want to. There is honestly an endless amount of customization in how you play. I feel like Bloodborne doesn't have this same amount of freedom in combat, but instead swaps out that freedom and replaces it with its trick weapons and guns. Okay, so basically every weapon in this game has a second mode. Now that is where Bloodborne shines because no two weapons in this game are the same. Well, I mean, the saw cleaver and the saw spear are kind of similar, but that's besides the point, bro. All the weapons in Bloodborne have a one-handed mode in which you hold your gun in your offhand, and then from there, the second mode is just free game. There are weapons that stay one-handed but change the form of the weapon, giving it more reach and damage or a different functionality. There are weapons that like completely transform into a two-handed weapon that offers a different gameplay style. There's weapons that become dual-wield weapons, and like that's just inherently cool as f because, like, dual wield katanas, bruh. And there's also weapons that instead of changing, just add a buff to the weapon that increases damage or adds some sort of effect to it. I feel like this trick weapon system and the wide range of options each weapon gives you makes up for the lack of freedom in what you can do. The gun in Bloodborne is also a very cool tool. It can be used for other uses, but its main purpose in Bloodborne is as a parry. If you time the shot of your gun perfectly as an enemy is attacking, you can stun them, which leaves them open to massive damage and even a critical attack that does way more damage. In my eyes, the gun is cool because it gives players yet another reason to use the one-handed mode as opposed to just spamming the two-handed mode. When you go into your two-handed mode, it can offer you higher damage or faster attacks, but the parry that the gun offers you is irreplaceable. And what's great about Bloodborne is how flawlessly you can switch between your two modes. You can do this on the fly with the press of a button, but pressing the button while attacking gives you a transformation attack which really helps the combat flow together and makes it that much more enjoyable. But the introduction of trick weapons and the gun isn't the only change in combat. Unlike other Souls games where your playstyle can differ, Bloodborne encourages a much more hands-on aggressive playstyle. In games like Dark Souls 3, 2, 1, Demon Souls, and especially Elden Ring, you can basically play the game however you want and there's no definitive best way. Any way can be broken and OP as long as you spec into it the right way. But in Bloodborne, there's almost a linearity in how you're supposed to approach the combat. If you didn't notice, this section isn't scripted, I'm just yapping. You can see this in how much enemies get staggered by your normal attacks. This encourages you to keep applying pressure to your enemy as opposed to rolling away constantly and taking your time. Also, while you can roll in this game like you can in other Soulsborne games, while you're locked onto an enemy, you have a short-range dash which allows you to continue attacking faster. This and other systems like you being able to regain health by attacking enemies immediately after they damage you shows that the game favors a much more aggressive playstyle. This isn't to say you can't play the game a different way, but you can definitely see that Bloodborne rewards a certain type of playstyle. So all in all, what made Bloodborne so different? Everything. Like I literally just explained it. Damn near everything about this game gives off a unique vibe that I've yet to experience in another FromSoft game, or even another JRPG for that matter. Bloodborne truly is one of a kind, and it's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it yet, it's currently on PlayStation Plus, and if you don't have a PlayStation, well, funnily enough, the emulation for this game has kind of been going crazy lately, so you might actually be able to play it on PC soon. And that's the end of the video. I do not take breaks while recording the ending, so get ready for me to start breathing heavily. As you may have noticed, well, to be honest, you probably haven't noticed, but I've been away for a while. I only ended up posting 2 videos last summer, which is, horrible, considering I did nothing but play video games all day. You know what? To be honest, bro, truth be told, I've had the script for this video ready for a while, but I've just been kind of too lazy to record and edit it, so yeah, my bad, bro. I kind of lost my love for making videos once I hit 1K, which is weird, but for a long time that's been my main, milestone. But once I actually hit it, nothing changed, and I was just back to chasing, the next big milestone. So I kind of locked in, and I was like, bro, what am I doing with my life, bro? Why am I making YouTube videos? I could be playing Destiny 2 and not make videos about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I just got bored of it. So why am I back? Well, as you know, once you hit 1K on YouTube, you can get monetized. And I've low-key been fiending for a PS5 for a while, so I figured the 5-year a month from YouTube could come in handy. All jokes aside, even though that wasn't a joke, I am happy to be back, and I will try uploading consistently, but bro, I'm not making any promises, bro. But as always, this has been your boy Jugo Young, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace! Also, thanks for 1K, bro. Appreciate that.